Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. The second map of this best of 3. And the first round of the epic 32 elimination stage is underway. It's Train, Horus versus Peak. Peak took map number 1 on Overpass 16-5. A truly indomitable performance from the multinational side comprised of mostly Nordic players. Start things off here. The bomb is already planted in the pistol round. We're down to a 2 versus 2. It's Prime and Danny against Ganofi and Freddy. Looking to try and bring this round back from the brink. Already, a couple of frags have been found in favour of Horus, but that's going to be one back in turn that they can't really afford to fight. The P2K looking to try and take some more shots, poking out. And the defuse is still not coming in. They know they can just keep shoulder baiting through the pop dog. And that's exactly what's going to happen. Another shoulder bait, but this time the shot is found. But there's just no time remaining. And Prime is forced to back away. Freddy has won the round just by proxy of staying alive. And now Pete off to the best start possible. Pistol round victory. Let's just click that. So into this one, we're going to see the instantaneous force buy coming in from Horus. It's the best thing that they can really opt to bring to the table at this moment in time. The closest they're going to be able to get to Peak by way of firepower for a few rounds, so might as well stick with it. And in goes Maze. He looks to try and tap away now. The Scout already pinged down to 36 HP. These Deagles present a potent threat, and currently they're not being dealt with that well. Joshua finds the first, and now Sensei and Freddy are able to chime in with 2 more. And thankfully, the frags are now coming back in for Horus. A 3 versus 3 has somehow ensued here. Thankfully, that's now reduced into a 2 versus 3 for the favour of Peak, but still the Scout's finding its shots. And Freddy will have to decide to plant the bomb in a more safe position. High goes Maze, and he's on such low HP that Eagle is just able to ping him from that spot. Shattery, with the bomb being planted where it is, also at this moment in time has to swing wider if he wishes to check if people are on it. So they're going to go and stack it. A double stack, if you will. A missed shot already, but that means that they now know the bomb is not being defused. And again, we're going to find ourselves in a situation where there is simply just going to be not enough time for XD. And Freddy knows it. He'll get away, and Pete get away with another second round, just by proxy of Freddy staying alive with the bomb detonating. Peak now, looking to try and convert into a third. There are still upgraded pistols and, of course, the saved rifle of XD from that previous round into this one. This could mean that Peak are in with a shout of being trying to knock down a peg here, one would suppose. Ready, problems are afoot as Prime is prepped and ready to find 2 frags, nearly 3, as he finds the locale of Maze. And that Deagle has maybe just done enough here to win the round by itself. XD now grabs a frag. For some reason, Auto Director doesn't want to move off anybody, so let's just do it for it. Maze down to 5 HP for the second consecutive round, and really is just going to be popped up. I said this round could go out of sorts for Peak, and by the looks of things, it very quickly has. Horus with all the cards. Recovering rifles. Sanctioning the bomb. And now soon to be hunting Maze. 5 HP. Turning all the corners. And is taken down. Get rid of that annoying thing in the bottom right, shall we? Thanks, Nvidia. Freddy and Peak taking the time to tech pause, I'm guessing, as Freddy has disconnected from the server for whatever reason. FPS bug, potentially, something similar, who knows. So, what can Peak bring to the table on a force buy of their own? Well, by the looks of things, just one Galil. And then an assortment of pistols, mostly Deagles, but of course there is going to be one Glock sprinkled in there, as Freddy is going to be the designated man with the utility. A small sprinkling of damage in towards Prime, but a heavy chunk of damage into Joshua, as Sensei finds the head of Joshua and brings it into a 5 versus 4. Peak won't be in a position at the moment to recover that AK, but already now Shattery, lurking out of the Ivy position, has managed to find himself a cruel fate as Zerop takes him down rather surreptitiously. Now, what's going to be the play for Peak? It looks like trying to catch players on the cross, as Zerop has been caught on the cross slightly. Down to 11 HP as he is dinked in the process by the only real threatening weapon in this round, the Galil. Flashbang in, straight in towards Zerop's eyes, but there's going to be plenty of coverage. If he gets taken down here, though, that could be a threat. Never mind. Ganofi, 1 versus 2 now. He's going to get pinched in from behind. It will be Horus finding their second and trying to keep this game as remotely competitive as possible. Peak will now be on full eco, so Horus might be in a position to take their first lead of this best of 3, sorry. So, one lone Tech 9 and the rest are Glocks. As Horus defend against this rather damning assault. Joshua grabbing one. Dritch just dropping himself down lower, tapping a few heads with the P250 on the retreat, and then Prime should be able to clean the rest of this up so Joshua doesn't have to. The AWP survives. 5 players continue on for Horus. And in their own right, because these rounds are becoming a little bit cleaner, they're actually building a little bit of an economy now. Horus starting to look like they can build something great on this CT half of train. on the bye for Peak, but going to be back to winning ways. Leon, the pressure towards both Ivy and Pop Dog, leaving the bomb pretty much desolate. What is going on there, XD? How are you going to give yourself up like that? And the same back, I suppose, true to Freddy. How are you going to give yourself up like that? Come on. Danny not touched by the flames. In the end, will again trade 1 for 1, bringing this round to a 3 versus 3. Danny has been very impactful thus far inside of the Pop Dog. Obviously, especially inside of this round, but continuing on. Chattery and Joshua trading frags now, but more to the point, that's actually a better trade for Horus, because Chattery gets dinked in the process. Leaving him down on 12 HP, it's going to have to be Sensei to do a lot of this round's work. Picking up the workload a fair amount, looking for the frag now on the AWP, finds the early spray, but can't continue it for the time being, as he's now down 29 HP. There's no time remaining on the clock. They need to get this bomb down ASAP, or just find the frags, and that's exactly what Peak do. 1 HP for Sensei, and Peak grab 3. Recovered the AWP, and Chattery looks to be the one taking it here, because he's got the best spawn to go for Connector. This could be a very important frag to start off the round. It will be the joust against Joshua if it's offered up. By the looks of things, it's not. HE Grenade will chunk Chattery down, and the Molotov will finish him off. Just like that. The AWP's out of it for Peak. But the same is true now for Horus. Unfortunately for Peak, everyone's out of it. And just like that, the cookie crumbles, the tree falls, whatever you want to say, and immediately they're gone. Snap of the fingers, they're out. The fast play gets read nicely. As soon as they burn Chattery in team aim, they know that the play is coming towards A. If Chattery doesn't die, and Peak go for that fast play with Chattery in team aim, they might win that round. But as it is, Peak back to losing. Peak back to pistols, back to practically a full eco. It's the site they go. Prime opens things up, trying to delay with 2. Does really well for that one. Ends up getting the 3rd as well. Prime doing a great job. Freddy will trade 1 back with the Glock, tapping away for Sensei. But the Glock is so poor at long range, the damage is ultimately inconsequential. Freddy ends up falling. But the good news for Peak there is they get a bomb plant, and that bomb plant could be oh so impactful. Could be oh so important too. That bomb plant will be able to afford them a buy in the next round, and even better than that, it's a good buy too. It gets... I think it should get an AWP in proceedings. Maids drops one's out, and as a result of that, the AK is dropped back over by Sensei. So, everybody is going to be stripped up to the 9s. Everyone's dressed down to the aces, or dressed down, isn't it dressed down to the 9s and like stripped up to the aces? I may have got that idiom slightly wrong, but whatever. You know what I meant. Everyone's looking bougie as hell on Peak now. They've got everything they want. Early shots being taken. Prime will now try and delay what's coming into the site, but this position is so good to defend the B push from. He goes 2 for 1, and also there's another frag from Prime in the mix, so it ends up being a 3 versus 2. Sensei tries to line him up and knock him down, grabs 2. Sensational work from Sensei as he now looks to try and open up the round for the victory. Peak need this one so desperately, and now they're going to try and transition themselves to up top. Molotov will go down on top of the bomb to prevent any further diffusing coming in from Zerup, so he can try and renegotiate his approach. Flashbang to upper. Peeking towards lower. Sensei's taken down, but another molly from Chattery onto the site will mean that this round is won. There's no way that the Horus player can get in towards this site. Chattery ducks tail towards the opposite direction to survive the round and make sure he doesn't go charging into the scope of Zerop. Again, though, the problem for Peak is they lose the AWP, which pretty much won the round for them there. And on top of that, they have 4 players having to reinvest. They do reinvest an AWP and sacrifice Ganofi down to a Galil. So each to their own on that regard, but could have been a lot better here for Peak if they'd have kept more players alive. Now Zerop is going to smoke, and the players are turning anti-type. He's got a nice angle behind it. Sensei able to find the frag regardless. Down to 7 HP, but when you're an AWPer, you only need 1 bullet to find the frag. So, really, not that big of a deal. Freddy and Maze, both lie in wait. Nice frag from Ganofi, though, and that could open up the A site for business, as now Ivy is under the T's control. There's going to be a CT round the back in Prime, who's going to look to try and take control away from them, but Shattery way too quick on the draw. Now Joshua looking to try and stop the cross back into the B site. They're actually going for the full wrap around, but where's the bomb? Is this all a painful ruse? As Joshua ends up getting mollied out of it. Still gets the frag. In the end, though, everybody is joining the party here now. Maze should find an easy time onto Joshua. On the off angle, catches the second 2. Danny falls. AWP is still in circulation, so no need to recover. And Horus finally get their money burnt out. After so many rounds of it being nearly but not quite, it's finally come to an end. And Horus now find themselves looking down the barrel of potentially maybe a force buy or a light buy at the very least. It seems that the majority of the players are going to be opting for the eco, whilst Zerop with the Swag 7 boys will definitely be going into Pop Dog with that one. Actually, no, it's going to be up towards the B halls with that one. They hear the pressure coming in, but it's no match for the Swag. Nails the shot. Now turning the corner, the AWP's here. Freddy's got to try and bail it out as well, but the Swag's just jumping around it. Doesn't matter. Nails it down. AWP is now irrecoverable for the T side. It's just going to be a question of, can Horus do damage with the recovered weapons? The answer is yes, they goddamn can. And that molly now needs to make sure it buries itself inside of the Pop Dog, because there is so much riding on recovery of this bomb. And getting away with it! Oh, nearly doesn't. The AWP shot from XD just skims by Maze. And now, on the 2 versus 2, the plant will come in, but there's a huge gap here. There's a huge gap that can be exploited. Thankfully, it doesn't. The CT's now looking to try and make some kind of precarious boost over the boxes inside of the Pop Dog. That's a nice nade from Shattery. That finishes off XD. Now Danny has to swing out for the peak, and Shattery makes it work. 5-6 in the 2 versus 2. Nearly that round goes from really winnable for Peak, as they're against practically nothing, to so dangerous. That Swag, that Mag 7, ends up dealing so much damage, dropping so many crucial players, and causes Peak to improvise so quickly on the fly. In the end, they're able to do it, but it is not without its costs. It comes with a heavy cost, heavy reinvestment risk, and now another risk of being broken financially again in what has already been a hotly contested half. Horus finally coming to play here on the CT side of Train. They were dormant throughout all of Overpass, practically scratching the surface with how many rounds they were able to muster. But now, look at the territory they're able to take. Look at the map position they're able to strangle away from these T's. Already, so much information garnered. They cannot be at A. Get towards B quick. Hightail it with as many players as you can. Try and find the shots. Ganofi taken down. Prime doing a sensational job at delaying. Is it going to be enough, though? Seemingly not. Shattery falls onto the site. Doesn't take too much damage in the process. With the 3 kills in this round, the 4 HP to follow, he cannot plant the bomb there. That is so unsafe. He gets hounded, he gets hunted, and now Sensei to clutch. 1 on 2. I don't know what Shattery was thinking. He needed to be safe there. He knew he needed to be safe. Maybe there was a call that there was players behind, but in the end, this is going going to be such a tough round for Sensei to win, and I don't think he's going to be able to do it. It's going to need to be a masterful 1 versus 2 where he dips and dodges and takes these one-on-ones independently. But these CTs, they're trying to play on top of each other, and they're going to find it. Joshua, 6-6, and again, I can't stress this enough. Peak's money is shagged. They have nothing to go with here. Ganofi on $1,400. I don't know if this is a force buy or an eco. How do you choose to play this for Peak? Heaven knows, because Horus certainly don't. What they're going to be up against now, I don't think even they can conceive. And it's so much disparity. Half all of Peak, aside from Ganofi, decide to just go for an eco. But Ganofi's like, you know what, boys? I'm out of this round. I need to force buy in, and potentially I can find something to happen. Prime now sets himself on the T ramp, manages to grab the first frag onto Maze. That's the only other real independent weapon in the Tech 9 taken away from this round. Ganofi, who forced into it, is instantly bested too. And now Peak are 3 versus 5 in a round they so desperately need to win to secure themselves a strong position in the half. They're mown down flawlessly again. I can't stress it. Horus's economy is now going to find them the way to the end of the half with no problems, irrespective of the outcome of the next 2 rounds. They are fine to buy, and Peak are just not. Ganofi could have had a Galil at least if he'd have saved this round out previously. But as he didn't, he's now relegated to a Tech 9 and armor, while the rest of his team is trying to fight with the full rifles. This feels like such a short-sighted approach from Peak, or at least just specifically from Ganofi. But can Sensei turn it around? Well, a tag onto Prime would certainly indicate that he's opting for it. But Prime thus far is having a very, very good round. The Cloud9 drop into wards. Pop Dog will secure 1 frag, but that's not going to be enough to try and win the round. Ganofi now pressuring his way into the A site. Gets Joshua down to 5 HP, but still can't finish his dinner. Shattery, thankfully, trades once again. His second frag of the round as it comes in. And now in a 3-on-3. Lots of players low on health for Horus, but the question is, can Peak even convert that? They've got 1 player in Zerop who's going to be on the site. He needs to be cleared out, and he's not. Prime finally gets it. It's actually Prime, as a matter of fact. Zerop still stands on the flank. He's actually coming, and Sensei is not even aware. This could be the round, but the timing from Freddy, he finds it and he shuts it down, and he saves Peak in the process, because it was only a matter of time before Zerop actually just decimated Peak's hopes and dreams and dashed them the victory of the half. But as it is, Horus need to now look towards trying to find what they can out of this. Again, Peak's buy is far from ideal. A Mac 10 on Ganofi, a Galil on Sensei. I'll be traded back over, I'm sure, when the AWP of Maze doesn't find anything towards middle. Instead, they're going fast. They're going breakneck. Double AWP setup is employed here, though, by the Horus side for the final round of the half. And so far, it's not even finding anything. It's in fact the M4 of XD that's doing it all alone. And now Joshua has Shattery pinned down. A nice flick to find that frag. 8-7 looks like it's definitely on the cards here for Horus. They've finally woken up in this half. They've finally woken up in this series. And they're making it competitive. 8-7, halftime. How close do you want it? How close do you want it to be? Horus apparently want it as close as humanly possible. But Maze has other ideas. He's stepping out to the first frag of the round. Sensei with a second and a third. Pistol rounds are somewhat of a speciality for Peak by the looks of things, as they now lap up the 4th and look hastily towards the final frag of the round. XD trapped, really. Cold and alone and very, very scared, as he has no safety with the bomb. He needs to 1 versus 5 clutch this, as he's being hounded by 3 angry CTs who have got the bomb in their possession. He takes 2 with them. Maze now looks over the top of the trains as he tries daringly to emerge his way into the site to retrieve the bomb, but I don't really fancy his chances. Even if he is able to clutch 1 more frag out of this, there's still so much of a good setup around this bomb for Peak. Their chances are so limited. Goes for an extended peek and is still not able to take any damage there. Lots of missed shots coming in from peek. Is recovered. In the end, Maze swings out from behind and collects the 8th for peek. If they can again convert this into a good run of rounds, it can often be beneficial. But again, we find ourselves in the similar picture to what I painted in the first map. As soon as you're on the CT side and you find yourself winning the pistol, there is the possibility for a force buy to come in on round number 2 that can rival the buy that you've had on round 2 yourself on the CT side. This time, it does not come in. There's a nade strike towards middle, which will decimate Maze. Decimate Danny. Prime with the Zeus manages to grab another. That's the second Zeus frag in this series that we've seen. All of a sudden, Shattery's taken down too, and just like this, a lack of weaponry is somehow providing a very reasonable fight here for peek. They are not finding it easy to come up with the goods in this round thus far. Prime is bested. MP9 with armor against an MP9 without. There's only one person who's going to win that engagement, really. XD needs to find a crucial shot. Freddy playing very far away with very little opportunity. Molotov will dislodge Zerok, going for the plant right away, and a follow-up HE grenade from Freddy will do one better in denying it. So no plants in both rounds here for Horus, which could prove to be a fatal problem, as it might really result in not being able to get the AWP out this round. 4750 is available for Joshua. It'll be all he's able to buy. He does get the AWP out. It is going to be glass cannon, so if any of these MP9s can get onto him, he is going to be very, very weak. Already, oh, so much damage inflicted to Joshua. Just 16 HP is all he has. A frag instantaneously comes in as well as Sensei collects the AK. Could cycle that M4 back out into the site for his teammates' approval, but nonetheless, that's not going to be the call at the moment. Now Sensei chiming in to Team Main with Maze's assistance too. They find a second frag. That tallies up onto Sensei's rather incredible run this series already. Maze with the MP9 could drop back to get the M4 that's inside of Pop Dog at the moment. Whether he recognises that or not is a different story. Prime over with one. A second found onto Sensei now. M4 surely to be recovered here by May, so he can try and do some damage from inside the Pop Dog. But now outside the back of Ivy, this position has crumbled, and it could prove to be the weak point in the round, the Achilles heel here off peak, as they're now tapping away as they emerge back into the site, trying desperately to garner whatever advantage they can, but they've forgotten about Joshua. They've forgotten about the player with the AWP this entire round through. He is going to get bested, and that drops the bomb too. MP9 is all that Freddy has to work with, and unfortunately, he is going to have to run away because the bomb just made it past the red train into cover, and Zerok can plant it. Now Freddy needs to make a long con rotation. It looks like he might even think about going all the way down Ivy. He does have a kit, so that extends his opportunities in this round slightly, but doubles back upon it. I don't even know if Freddy's even considering this round at this point. He looks to be slowly and gradually emerging his way into the site. Has the M4 in hand now, but there's just such good post-plant positioning here from Horus. One player up in heaven, whilst it's a position that you can easily spot out, it's also one that you often don't expect. And I think at this moment in time, Freddy might have also been spotted. He's going to try and get away with the AWP to secure peak, at least that in the next round. A lot else, though, I don't really fancy his chances for. Zerok and Prime will win the round. The bell will ding, and Horus will find 9. So, into round 19 we go. Peak trying to force and instigate everything that they can. Freddy, of course, with that dropped AWP, looking to try and find impact into Sensei, who goes for a repeat. Come on, man, you know better than this. Gets taken out. AWP is dropped. One of the key weapons that could have turned the tide in this round. And as it is, now it goes over to Prime, who, whilst not known for his AWPing ability, is definitely a player who is having the hot hand in this map so far. 22 frags in 19 rounds. Leading the way in the server. Trades coming in now from Shattery, who actually goes 2 for 1. Maybe even 3 for 1. But Joshua able to finally snag him away. Now Maze looking to try and make amends as he's got a FAMAS. And somehow this round is benefiting the CTs. They have better weaponry. They have the opportunity for the full stick. It's going to be a 5-second defuse, checking all your angles, and unfortunately Freddy does get bested on that site. No defuse surely to come in here. No kit collected. Maze is done for. Can't even find Danny in the process. Knife battle, but they both died to the bomb. Round should be a formality. Peak are done financially. Shattery grabs one somehow. And now the remainder of Peak look to emerge. The Hot Dog. The recovered AK is no match. Freddy is going to be pinged down as well by Joshua. So now Ganofi will have his bite at the cherry. And even then, his mouth doesn't fit. They're up. Grabs Horus, their 11th. They seem to be relatively in control of what's happening here. Peak have underestimated their opponents slightly. Horus have woken up. This time around, though, the nade strike that didn't kill Joshua when he had no armor will kill him when he has armor. He is bested, and Shattery with the AWP towards Ivy is finding the mark. This is a much cleaner round from Peak. Much, much better. More of this, please, from the Peak side. As Horus now 2 versus 5. If Peak can continue with rounds like these into the next, especially, where it will be make or break for Horus on their finances, and they can really start to build bank. You can see that all the players surviving there is only going to be reinvestment of utility, and that in the end won't be overly expensive when you've already not used it all. I should anticipate Horus to buy here. At very least, it should be a half buy. Maybe a little more hesitant to do so, considering his XD and Danny didn't really have the funds to go too crazy in this one. So it will be the half buy coming in. That will mean a buy in the next one, but here for Peak, they need to be very considerate of what they're about to be up against, and they haven't been. And as a result of it, they're going to lose the round, I think. As Sensei's now down to 16, he's going to be pinged through the smoke. It's all on Freddy to clutch, 1 versus 3. Whilst the bomb's been dropped, this is just so weird from Peak. They surely recognise that this is not going to be a great buy for Horus. And they're going to attempt something stupid and crazy. And yet still, they go for it. They go for broke, running into places they shouldn't be. Now Freddy ends in a 1 versus 1 against the block. Thankfully, Freddy is able to 1 versus 3 Peak's way out of this round. But all of that money that they just built up by having to not reinvest in that flawless previous round has just dissipated instantly. Peak are doing everything they can to make this game very difficult to win. Double op setup is now employed, though, by Peak. They're going for broke in this one. This is going to be the strategy that makes or breaks their game. Double AWP setup was only introduced for 1 round by Horus in the 15th, and in that moment in time, it wasn't all that successful. They still won the round, but not by use of the double AWPs, is what I mean to say on that one. Already, though, Maze has gone aggressive. He's found Prime instantly, and that's the key scalp to be taking right now. Horus's key man is out of the round for the time being. Battery over on Ivy also finds Joshua. Maze continues with his second frag. Looks it up to a third as well. Only Zerop remains, who catches Ganofi getting a little too aggressive for his own good inside of the team main. Maybe a frag opening up here for Maze too. He can just catch the head at the right time. Zerop waits, and I think more than anything is just delaying the inevitable here. The inevitable death soon to come round the corner. Sensei holding, finds the frag, and Peak reclaim their lead. First time they've really had one since, I think, round 2? Maybe sometime early in the first half, let's put it that way. I know they got off to a little lead, but it's like a pseudo lead in the second half, really, when you win the pistol. Because inevitably, the T's are going to bite back at some moment in time. Now, surely they have to recognise they're up against a difficult and precocious buy. So it is going to be important to exercise caution here from Peak. And they know better this time to not go barreling into the pop. They'll get a break at pace. This time, they're going to try and keep these T's at arm's length. And it is working fantastically. A clean sweep. Ganofi gets 3, Maze with 1, and Shattery with the other. Peak find 13, and they're starting to get Horus's number by the looks of things now. That's going to be, looking at the scoreboard, 4 in a row. Peak feel quite happy about that one, I can tell you for free. Already, though, Peak are looking to try and take territory away from the T's and instead lose a lot of their own. As a result of that now, Freddy's going to have to gamble out of this B site. Unfortunately, that looks to be exactly where Horus want to go. Maybe there's an opportunity to retake it. Freddy actually does come back with the inclination that maybe something could be afoot here. Still plenty of pressure over toward A, though. Zerop is not going to get curious, though. Sensei, on the other hand, about to finds one, gets away, now quickly turns his attention down towards the left-hand side. Smoke goes in from XD here to try and cut this off. Freddy going to be lurking around the back to find one. Grabs the frag, gets away. Rather nice work from him, but he's now going to be hunted. Turns his back as the anti-flash comes in, and Freddy, with the link-up from Sensei, has nearly made this work. There's only one more piece of the puzzle, and it is Danny looking to try and flank this out for the round win. Neither player wanting to show face. Sensei goes for a peek because he's got the AWP. He fancies his chances against the AK at long range, but can't find it. Now Danny elevates, but there's just 10 seconds remaining. Do not give him this frag. Freddy, please do not give it to him. This is all you need to do. Just delay, 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 delay. Keep delaying, keep delaying, keep delaying, and you've done it. That's all you needed to do. As soon as you hear those footsteps approaching, you get the hell out of Dodge. Peak Esports, 11-14. Hard graft in this map, but remember, they are already 1-0 up in this best of 3. And that first map was decimation. It was 16-5 on overpass. Now Peak looking comfortable enough on train. Trading frags away, making it a 4-on-3. Could even be one better if Ganofi would not have got full blinded by his teammate there. Shattery, potentially looking for an opening. Finds one, quickly dodges away. Now looks on top of the blue train in case there's any kind of escalation. Unfortunately for Shattery, there's not to be. Instead, it's going to be Danny to back away, and now Zerop looking for a flank, but Shattery is so dialed in. He's so ready for that to come through, and he even finds the final frag as well to complete a rather magnificent 4K. The Swedish superstar is well and truly online, 25 frags to his name, and he takes over the honours of being the leading fragger in the server from Prime, and 15 rounds clocks on for Peak. This could be the end of all things here for Horus, as they once again are scraping the barrel financially. Joshua has to go for a deagle in order to make sure that the team has any utility at all. Otherwise, there's really no feasibility to go in for it. Smoke already expended, and now Freddy and Maze already finding the frags in towards the upper B halls. Now there's an opportunity to try and trade this one away, though, with XD looking to try and make an entry in towards the A site. He thinks better of it, but Danny, on the other hand, does not. He goes in, manages to find Ganofi inside the pop dog, but in comes the assault now, and that's a Molotov that just stops it right in its tracks. Joshua looks to try and find some more out of it, but at the moment, not going to be too plausible. Tries to find the headshot onto Shattery, but the AWP is just way better at that kind of range. Danny is the only player now remaining in a 1 versus 3 for the game. It looks like Peak have done it. It looks like they've got it all sorted. Danny's only on 17 HP, and Shattery finishes it off. 16-11, 2-0. Peak progress into round 2 of the elimination bracket. We'll have a look at the scoreboard just to end things. Shattery, 28 frags, 19 from Maze, 18 from Freddy, 19 from Sensei, and only Ganofi falling up the rear with 11. But still, much